All right, so in this video, I want to talk a little bit about how I got started designing battle maps, and then also how that transferred over into me starting MapMe as a project. And that was 2.5 years ago, so there's quite a lot to unpack. So basically, I probably started, like many of you, with like crudely drawn battle maps, first on an A4 or letter-sized paper, where we kind of sketched out with a pencil where we were fighting. Then we were using like tiny meeples or something to track where we were. And that was kind of where I got started with battle maps. It's when we first got started with D&D. I didn't have beautifully designed battle maps, but it got the job done, so that was good enough. I noticed that when the battle maps were like super crudely drawn and there weren't a lot of details in it, that my players weren't really interacting with the environment as much. So I wanted to bring in an aspect of like scattered terrain, like crates that are stacked somewhere in a corner where someone could hide behind, or finding ways to add in more underbrush, trees, smaller things, or even like complex structures. And that's when I started to draw my own battle maps on like dotted paper, where I started to basically use my ink markers and my pigment markers to sketch out. They got a little bit more sophisticated, right? But they also took a lot of time, and then usually I would have to bring them over to the computer, digitalize them. Whereas when we started before, we had a separate webcam that would join the session, which I had put onto the battle map so everyone could see, and we were playing online at the time. What happened was we moved to Roll20 after a while, so we moved into an entirely digital space where we said, let's move to Roll20 and handle everything in there. And that's when I started working more on digital maps. At first I was looking at Patreon, at stuff from Keora, Crosshead Studios. That was really great. That was a great starting point. There are beautiful battle maps out there. The problem with that was they weren't really that customized. So when I ran one-shots for the encounters where the location was very important, where you had to have like a specific layout, they would provide you with these maps. But when we started running a campaign, we're currently running Eternity of Dragons, Heart of the Dragon Queen campaign, and there weren't a lot of maps available for that, and you need specific locations. And that's when I moved away from the Keora pre-made battle maps, which are beautiful and I loved them, but I moved away from those because it immediately told my players that if I had like a crudely drawn map that I was making myself, that this was an important part of the campaign. And if it was like a beautifully designed map, then they immediately knew that it was kind of an unimportant random encounter that didn't really add much to the story. And so that kind of gave it away a little bit, and I didn't want that to happen. So that's when I discovered that Crosshead Studios, for example, makes assets for DungeonDraft. And I was like, what is DungeonDraft? Let's find that out. Googled it and immediately found DungeonDraft, fell in love with it, purchased it like that day, and started making my own battle maps. Now, that's kind of the situation that I'm coming from. This is where I discovered I could make my own battle maps and make them look really cool without too much of a hassle. At the time, I was commuting, so I was spending a lot of time on trains, public transportation in general. And so I would have 2 hours a day, roughly, where I was just commuting. I wasn't driving by car, so I had plenty of time to do something, but prepping my sessions really wasn't that easy because I had to have like a big stack of books and I wanted my dice. So that's not really easy to do on a bus or in a train. But something that I could do was I could make battle maps. So I started carrying my laptop with me. But I quickly found out that it was kind of a hassle when you have to move between the transportation, pack your laptop, put it in the backpack, run to the next station, pack it out again when you're in the train and start working on it again. So I wanted a solution that was a little bit more mobile. Now, I'm a professional iOS developer, have been for 5 years and have been professionally, but have been working on this for 9 years. So I have a little bit of experience in the field, and I was in my youthful ignorance, I was you know what, I'm gonna build my own tool. Oh boy. That's where MapMe was born. And that's what led me to starting to create this app and research what is out there, trying to untangle the spaghetti of how to unpack DungeonDraft packs. And initially I was just building that tool for myself because I wanted to quickly being able to flip open something, work on a map for 5 minutes, close it, change the stations, put it back out, open it back up, and I'd be ready to go. So this really solved a problem for myself. This is mostly my own problem that I'm solving here. I'm lucky enough that enough people think this is kind of valuable, which is kind of interesting to me, and so I decided to make it public. But at the core, I'm still solving my own problem. Now I'm no longer commuting. I work from home most of the time, but that doesn't matter because I can still make battle maps from the couch, or when I'm on a road trip, or when I'm going into the office, which sometimes still happens, and then I've got even longer commuting times. So I'm still solving that problem for myself. So that's how MapMe came to be, and that's why I'm still doing this after 2.5 years and roughly 900 development hours put into this. I am still trying to solve that problem for myself. I'm nearing the release date in June. So if the app is already out, you can check the description down below. I'm gonna have a link where you can check it out. You can download the app for free off the App Store for your iPad. And there's gonna be a 7-day trial if you want, where you can use it absolutely for free with all the plus features. And after that, even then, you can still use it for free, and it's gonna be hopefully a big addition to your DM's toolkit. I'm happy to hear your feedback. Please do join the Discord server. There's a lot of active people in there. I am very active in there. So if you have any feature requests, any questions, any input that you'd like to share, please join the Discord. This is absolutely the place where you can reach me and all the other people that are excited about making battle maps on the iPad. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.